And open up.
I'd like to open the Livingston County Industrial Development Agency meeting. Welcome, everybody. And the minutes have been pre-distributed. If there's no corrections or additions, I'd entertain a motion to approve from May 5th. Second, all in favor? Aye. Treasurer's report.
Thank you. We did pull in some fee income, the Caledonia CSG solar project, which is the one that's out in front of Purina, commodity resource. Yes, let's go with property out there on Route 5. That closed, so they are moving ahead. That's the fee income. We paid our subscription to Placer AI, which, as you recall, was approved at the last meeting. The annual EDC conference is on there. Some agency fees. The professional expenses at the bottom were Livingston Correctional Facility related. It was a labella. We were required to do a traffic study for seeker. And then the consultants on the back side of the page is the strategic plan. I think that's the last payment, isn't it, Maureen?
No, there are several, but we're running them all through IDA, and when it's finished, LCDC and tourism will owe IDA money.
Okay, all right. So not the last that you'll see on that, but
Correct.
that is for the strategic plan. I do know that.
But it's just a wash. It's an in and out.
They're all.
No, we don't have a grant for this. We had approved a third from tourism, IDA, LCDC. So for ease, since the invoices aren't coming in thirds, we're just paying it all through IDA because
So tourism and.
tourism will pay a third and LCDC once we see the exact final amount.
See some income coming in. On the balance sheet, it's largely cash, no liabilities. We're in a good spot. Fairly heavy on cash, almost 800 and a little over 880,000 bucks. That's the treasurer's report.
Any questions for the director? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
New business.
Inducement resolution for American Rock Salt. So I met with the company the other day. They're requesting a sales tax only exemption from the agency. They've got a project at Hampton's Corners, right at the main mine. They are going to be doing some utility trenching and some energy efficiency maneuvers to try and drop their electric bill a little bit. With that is coming 2 new sheds. One new barn will house the mechanicals for some of this electrical upgrade that they're looking for. The other is that they're building an equipment shed for the dozers and loaders that they use above ground. So with that, they're talking about 60,000 new tons of productivity with some of these moves. I said, okay, what's that mean? I mean, is that a bucket full over there, or what does that amount to? So they generously said that 7.2 truckloads of salt per day, which is 1,875 trucks per year. So they're adding 2.5 new drivers to be able to move that around. Some of it will go offsite to their offsite storage facilities along the East Coast. Others will probably go right over to vaporizer and be bagged. So going to be an implication to this. They're looking for 380,000 in new sales tax for sales tax exemptions on this particular project. Total project cost is $9.845 million, so almost $9,850,000 bucks. They have made application. What you would be approving here today is the inducement resolution, which says that we've received a completed application. We'd be looking to entertain that sales tax exemption, and we would set a public hearing to hear comment on this in the town of Groveland. Any questions on that? Pretty straightforward.
Any questions, Jim? Entertain a motion to proceed in public hearing. Second. All in favor? Aye.
Great, thank you. I'll let you know when that is. In times before, we've done 2 hearings. We did one in the town of York and one in the town of Groveland to make sure that we were covered. That was when it was rolling stock and it could literally be used sort of at either location. This is physically located on the location in the town of Groveland. So Ed and I talked about it yesterday. He said, I don't really see a reason to hold a town of York meeting that's really more pertaining to Hampton's Corners and Groveland. So we thought that one meeting would be sufficient I defer. If you guys want me to hold 2 meetings, I certainly will. I don't have a problem with that. It just doesn't have much to do with York in this particular case.
It's in and out with York.
Yeah.
If they got extra salt, they don't get everything in their bag. Place snow removal.
You know, this is
And this is happening at the site.
It's truly an investment.
No buildings right
Yeah,
The reason I did it last time was rolling stock. It could be at either site. So I said, let's just do 2. This one is physically going on the Hamptons Corner site. So that's kind of where Ed and I arrived at.
and they never put anything in Mount Morris.
No, they never did. They bought the cold storage over in Mount Morris.
So I think pressurizer is still gonna produce in York, but store in Mount Morris, and will work to the rail siding.
That's correct. Yep. That was the benefit of that site was the rail. Yep. Talking about the spot on Lackawanna, just across from Bosse's.
Yep.
It's not for new business. I'm still waiting for a couple of things, but Power and Construction Group, which was a project that you induced, I think a meeting ago, maybe 2. We held a public hearing on Tuesday in the town of Caledonia, a very quiet hearing, no attendees. They still need site plan approval, so we're waiting on that before I bring it back for authorization for you. They're still going through the planning process, so. Possibly if we have to move quick, I might throw you an email on it, but if not, then I'd wait for the next meeting. Which we tentatively have set for July 7th, but, and I apologize for jumping around with dates this month. We get these meetings and people say, oh yeah, I got an application that's coming, and it doesn't come, and it doesn't come, and it doesn't, we're still waiting on 2 loan applications that we thought were coming in, but. So I apologize for jumping this date around, but if we don't need one on the 7th, I won't hold it, and I think Kirsty, you've got a conflict already you told me about, so we could push that meeting. We'll let you know. I don't see any reason for it yet. Tentatively, we can cancel, but. Couple of updates I've got. We went through the Public Authorities Control Board on Wednesday. All unanimously supported transferring the Livingston Correctional Facility to the Livingston County IDA for no consideration, so we got a bargain on it. Next step is it goes to the AG's office and then to the comptroller's office. It does not require any board approval or public meetings. It's basically, we've given them the authorization to sign off on what they need. They review it. The AG is going to look at it and make sure that, you know, somewhere in my lineage, I'm not a Cuomo and that we didn't get favor upon this or anything like that. I'm not, trust me. And beyond that, it's just about basically getting all the I's dotted and T's crossed. We should, or looking at closing sometime in July. So we still have a very interested prospect. I'm talking to them every Tuesday. The text I received back was, woohoo, what's next? Let's go. So I'm very anxious. EST has also called me and told me that there's another company in the same industry that's also interested. So as I said to Maureen, we might have a bidding war here. I don't know what we've got, but they have not made contact yet. EST gave them my number.
same.
Same it. Imagine that.
There's only one industry interested.
That's correct. Other thing on the Livingston Correctional Facility is that we've been contacted by Hollywood, who wants to shoot a movie there. They need 4 weeks in the month of August. However, there's a screenwriter's strike. So Jim, is your daughter on strike?
She's on strike.
She's on strike. There's a screenwriter's strike going on out there. We're waiting for that to come out and then they may need it. Some of the impact numbers, economic impact numbers for a month of filming on site are astounding
Yeah.
when it comes to filling up hotels, eating, all of that stuff. So I'm really anxious about what that could do for us.
Seeing the seconds of the doubles in the public if they need them, you know.
It's a feature film,
Whatever.
which from a Google search tells me it's a 2-hour on-screen film or possibly can even go straight to Netflix, but it's not a short or a documentary or anything like that. So.
So before it goes to someone else, shoot a movie.
So I was gonna say, what's the order of events?
So I fully disclosed this to our prospect and they're like, shoot your movie, man, do it.
Oh,
So as long as the strike doesn't go on for years, I mean, or, you know, well into the fall. We are waiting for some resolution on it, but they are very interested in using the facility. So they pay for everything. I said, if I have to turn lights on, they're like, we pay for security, for bringing in food, for renting the facility, for you know, renting our own rooms, whatever. If we have to have generators or if you have to turn it on, they cover it all. And the lady from Rochester, who's housed with Visit Rochester, said, we do this all over the state. She said, we will help you through it. The one thing is that, with this last budget, they increased the tax credit for movie production in upstate areas. It's now 40% tax credit, which is more lucrative than downstate. So we may see some of this coming our way. So nonetheless, that's out there.
Be nice if we could get Dick Wolf, the producer of
What's it, the,
CSI.
Law and Order, that's what I was thinking of.
He does all of it.
I won't go.
You know, because they do go in and shoot some of those shots in the prison.
I said, I asked the state if they had any indication of what the movie was, and she said it's a dramatic reenactment of how long it takes the state to divest a prison to a local facility. And that's Abby. She's got a good sense of humor. So she said your part is being played by Brad Pitt. Then I knew she was.
Good if we could meet some.
We're trying. It's just for your information. It's all out. Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to get people excited about it. And but in the meantime, we're looking at rezoning and all the stuff that still has to happen, and we'll be taking that through the process. More to come. Project Mill, they closed on the land yesterday. So now I have an owner. We're still trying to build the capital stack. I'm hoping for a USDA call with him this afternoon and Patrick Brennan. Patrick's been busy for us. It's possibly to enhance the guarantee. So he's been Anshu, who's the principal, is looking at a $25 million guarantee. Patrick thinks that he can get that to 40, which would really help us build this capital stack. So we're still trying to put that together, but we bought the land, which is definitely a great sign.
They short of anything there. The sewer wasn't much.
Nope. Utilities
The
are going to
rail
need some
is
upgrades.
good.
Rail is a big number. That's probably 1.2.
Why they wanted access there.
There's a way, I talked to LANL yesterday, Jeff Bauman told me that they could capitalize it. So if Dwight promises me 20 cars a day or even 3 cars a day, they can set the rate so that basically they fund the enhancement. So they're going to make money on the tail end. They just make a little bit less upfront to get the customer. So that it's ways that they've done it. I think they did it actually with Gorilla that way too. But he said we could do this with no money out of pocket, which is definitely a benefit for Miller. But so they're still proceeding there. And I'm talking to Anshu, it feels like 22 times a day. So we'll keep pushing on that. Morris Ridge, I spent some time on the phone with Morris Ridge yesterday. Couple of things. The biggest piece is local labor. We're getting some pushback on local labor. I can tell you that they have drained the Rochester Union halls of all electricians. It's local-ish. We don't have union halls here, but they are draining what's in the local bank, worker bank. The other thing I said, look for excavation and things like that. They said, no, we contacted a lot of local companies. It's in my inbox. I saw this morning. I asked for a list. You can call us back. So shame on them on some of these cases. I'm not saying that's everybody, but they said we did reach out. So those that are complaining need to know either A, we didn't get responses from some of the locals, or B, they overbid it. There is a general contractor, Blattner, that's doing a lot of the work, and Blattner, because of the cost increase, has absorbed some of this work too. So that's the third reason that there's some of this is not local, is that they're just trying to make it a more efficient process. So.
And they've been good in the local shoppers, Genesee Valley.
I agree.
Put an ad in there, but one in Mount Morris, what's going on, so.
I saw the ad for the pre-construction meeting on July 5th, which kind of has triggered some things. Dave DeSalvo's been on me about this too. And I know Kircher's probably the big one that's been on his ear. There is considerable local labor. Just, I think you got to look for it and find out what it is that's local. Some of it may not be. You're going to see a truck that has an Illinois plate on it or whatever, but nonetheless, this is a huge project and it does have a good local component. So I'm going to get more talking points and answers on that, and I will share them with you so that none of us are caught flat-footed. But just want to let you know that was my conversation with them yesterday. I want to stay on top of it. James Steele Park. I am actually trying to seek some authorization potentially. I got 2 bids back from Stevie Morse, one on the stormwater, one on the sewer connection. Magically, they come out to about $125,000. Now, 120 was the value of the land that I want to swap them for, so there could be a delta here of about 5,000. I do have a draft MOU in Steve's hands, if he's agreeable to it, and he has been up to now. If he signs that MOU, we could move forward with this in the land swap barter for services. If you guys are good with that, and will authorize me today, if that comes in this afternoon, I'll sign it. Are you okay with that, or would you rather wait and make sure that we're good?
I'm okay. My opinion, let's get it rolling.
I'd love to move on it, because they want to close, both tenants want to close on it. Both prospects.
What do you think, Jim? I think we should roll.
Yeah, Ed wrote up the MOU for me, so it all basically says everything that we've talked about, which is land swap for services. We can come out of pocket for a little bit if we had to bid it. I'm just gonna try and talk Stevie down to 120 even, and let's just call it a day.
Even money.
Ed's thought was you could bump it to 125 as the value and just still call it a day, so you don't come out of pocket for anything, but honestly, I think we can settle at 120. His bid is for 125.
So when that is done, you've got one lot.
6 acres, Stevie will own it. We will.
Yeah, haven't we got another lot over on the other side yet?
Nope.
Okay.
We're done. We'd market Steve's property, but he would own it.
Yeah, that's
And
what
it'd
I'm
be
saying.
fully shovel
Hey,
ready.
this mark, it's ready, shovel ready.
Absolutely. The sewer connection is the last piece on that one.
And then where do we stand, with the town of Avon? I'm taking all that. away.
Dedication. So the last conversation I had with David was, I don't think we need to do anything with that road. I said, well, you gotta tell MRB that, because they're the ones that are pushing this. And he said, hasn't frozen in 15 years. When did we do that project? 12, maybe 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah, it's easily 10.
So he's saying with the amount of water that moves through there, he's like, I don't think we need to do anything. We'd have to revive that conversation. But one of the last conversations from 2 years ago was put some insulation over top of it, maybe some foam board and cover it, which, as you know, isn't much of a project. So
Well, you know, there are two other options. We can go to the sewer and water authority and turn the sewer and the water over to them.
Yep.
And we could go to the county and turn the road over to them. And then they're gonna hire the town of Avon, which they do anyways, because they don't plow, county doesn't plow snow. I mean, if their engineer wants to walk on it, let's go wrong.
I get the impression that David would probably say town of Avon.
Well, I think Dave wants it.
Yeah, he does.
I think that maybe he's been held up by maybe some board members, I don't know.
I've kind of been working more with Stevie than with town on it. So I think if I can revive the conversation with Dave, I'll do that. We haven't talked about it in 4 months. But I think with this, if it finishes it out, Dave seems pretty good that nothing's gonna happen. And he's right, it hasn't frozen. No, honestly, to get frost down that deep nowadays anyway, it's gotta be a pretty cold winter. So. Horseshoe, I think we're close on Horseshoe at rates. We've been meeting with Dan Pangrazio and Dwight Kanyuk, his attorney. And I think we're almost there. So they are ready to go. And I think they're gonna make application. They have not yet, so we really don't have anything to look at. But as soon as they do, I'll let you know. And then White Creek is next. That should be kind of a plug and play. Once we get Caledonia set, we ought to be able to get York and Leicester set. Pretty favorable. I think it came out on a good end.
If they turned the power on in York, the two were, the one in the Hamlet, New York, and the other one across from the salt mine.
House from the salt mine. I don't.
So that they are using, oh,
I would assume so, at least that one.
they're-
The other one,
The,
he's talking about behind the grain bins on your road east or off 36.
yeah. That's true. That's that Trappins?
Chagani.
No, that's
Dragoni's, okay.
Dragani, the one on River Road is traffic.
The usual way that I know this, I don't get the C of O or the copy of the C of O, which is the operation certificate. I get pilot payments because that's what triggers it, and they are paid. So
then it's gotta
I would
be-
say
So
they're,
it's online.
yeah, I wish you could see it. I mean, it'd be nice if the light bulbs were on there, if you could tell that it's generating power, but if they're paying the pilot, that's the trigger is that the C of O has been issued. And they both are. I know that.
Good. Where do we stand at Dansville? I get it.
I went to planning board a couple of weeks ago. not a problem. It needs to go to the zoning board of appeals for the special use permit. We went back on Thursday, I think was the 15th, and they didn't have a quorum. So they didn't take any action. As soon as they can get a quorum, we're at CBA again. Planning board will need to see it again. We're probably talking mid-summer. There is no real reason why they can turn it down. They can, but there's no valid reason. It's in compliance. It's zoned correctly. Other than site, they really can't turn it down. The idea is, of course, take that money, put it into exit 4, ramp up the efforts at exit 4. CPL did a bid for me on getting exit 4 ready. I've got a kind of a master plan around this. If I can pick up the land from the county, I got to work a deal with Ian on the debt service that's owed on the water district. But I can pick up the land from the county, put it in for Fast New York money to get the environmental assessment stuff done to make it shovel ready. The only remaining thing would be the sewer connection, which is already designed, not permitted. But that could be kind of the last piece. And if I can get fast money to do that, we can make it truly shovel ready.
What is that, Dwight? Is that a half mile, the sewer plant there, mile?
That's a mile.
Connections on 436, that's where they tie in, right at frontage road right there. So, well, then. Yeah,
436.
yeah, I think a half is probably accurate, yeah. I can measure it, but that was always the plan with Bella Vista, but that's Pola had it. I gotta work out the water service, that's a mess, but
And I don't think you're gonna have any trouble acquiring that from the county.
I don't think so. I think they're game for that. I am trying to keep a little powder dry right now with our reserves for the prison to see what I need for that. But if I were to sell Vansville, I think that's an easy flip. Take that in there. We take that money and reinvest it. And that would be enough to cover what I think the county would be.
Should up for sale behind it. As soon as the meeting comes about.
Yeah, he's still asking me about it, the guy that was interested last time, so, and I know his father-in-law lives back there, so we could easily do that. I think I've been putting it off because I want to make sure that this thing is gonna go. Yeah, I think we're ready. So why don't you let me bring it back to you next meeting, if I can get a commitment from him, I'll get an offer on paper.
Yeah, see if you can, what you can do,
Okay.
you know, with the timber and without.
That's all I got, unless you got any other questions.
Sure.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
All in favor?
Thank you.